So last week we got our live update 1.39 for Arc Raiders, our once every 3-week update that brought along with it patch noteworthy changes. Our first substantial change and update in those 3 weeks, with a recent content cadence dictating that we wouldn't really see much of anything else until the 18th, another 3 weeks from that live update. However, one thing that's interesting about that update was the inclusion of a new loading or splash screen, the first thing you see when you boot up Arc Raiders. In that, it said phantom targets have been spotted on Shawnee's radar. Something is off. And that was it. Nothing about the update brought with it new content. It did bring with it a few nice changes like the furthering and absolute messaging about returning fire does not affect your matchmaking, fixes for things like the seeker grenades and wolf packs, among other items. And at that point, myself and others likely thought, okay, well, we'll see what this turns out to be in another 3 weeks, but that actually wasn't the case. Today's update for Arc Raiders is a strange one, offering both something worth mentioning while ultimately just kind of keeping things afloat until a further update. Today I want to share with you what you should know and what it means for the future here in Arc Raiders, so drop your thoughts below, drop a like if you enjoy the video, and make sure to subscribe for more Arc Raiders and other FPS content I'd love to have in the community. Also, keep an eye out, we're live regularly here on the channel once again, likely even live as this video being published, that I'd love to chat with you. And finally, check out my friends over at Advanced GG, where code Espresso you get 10% off your entire order, but more on that later. For now, let's get into it. So first, this isn't a live update, but rather a dubbed shop update, so the only thing that was relatively expected with this update was an update to the store. This time around, though, we don't have a new bundle actually, but rather an addition to the velour set, adding 2 new colorways to the skin, black and yellow. Black looks like it could be pretty stealthy and blend in decently with darker elements of the maps, while the yellow is brighter, a nice blue streak to break up the overall yellow design. Honestly, it kind of reminds me of Jonas from Dark, if you guys have seen that show. But anyways, that's it with the additions here in this one. As with all the other additions in relation to shop updates after the fact, these are added to the bundle and don't increase the price if you haven't picked them up, but if you do end up having them, you're not forced to rebuy them for the new color options. They're just added to the existing options in your customization menu as additional updates to the skin you already own. Nothing more needed. And again, frankly, that's all I kind of anticipated for this week up until, well, yesterday they made an announcement that we'd see a bit more than just that. Yesterday it was confirmed that those phantom targets would be something a bit more in the forefront, sooner rather than later, as Arc Raiders announced tracing signal. Phantom targets have been spotted on Shawnee's radar, something is off, tackle the first part of the new Raider project tomorrow, and well, here we are in tomorrow. Today, the patch notes mentioned Shawnee has noticed some discrepant surveillance data, but is yet to pin down the source. You know the drill, Raiders. Get out there and investigate the strange readings, fix up faulty antennas to triangulate signals, and take on the Arc with unconventional strategies in the first part of the new Phantom Target player project. The second part of the project is coming with the 1.42 update on August 18th, alongside the Phantom Targets event. So, 2 things to note there. Number 1, this is part 1, so we will see a continuation of this. And number 2, we're going to have the second piece of that sort of tandem offering we usually get of a project and an event. So new items will likely be added on the 18th, new sort of trinkets perhaps that we end up having to collect and then gain merits from, as we saw with the different shoes, steering wheel, train models, stuff like that, of the Converging Paths update, and the ship models and everything that we saw before then with Ribbon Tides. So right now we have part 1, but part 2 and everything else that comes along with that will be introduced in 2 weeks' time. Now that said, the Phantom Targets project is currently there with 3 active pages, an unspecified amount again coming later on that 18th. If I'm guessing, it's probably another 3 pages, and of course then the merits you have to go through for the event to earn specific additional items. So far, those 3 pages bring page 1's challenge, seeing you needing to upgrade the antennas found on top of any cargo elevator. For this, all you have to do is go over and interact with the wiring of the antenna next to where you call the elevator to extract. It can be done on any of those, though not sure if it will be changed, but at first it appears like you may not complete it, as the animation of the loading progress resets every time you end up interacting with it. So just know that if you go with that and you see it reset, you have actually interacted with that, it has credited for you. One thing to note also, this is only on Ribbon Tides, Spaceport, and Dam, as they're the only maps with elevators. Extracts in the other maps, of course, include the trains in Dam and Stella, the air shafts in Blue Gate, and then the ventilation shaft in Stella by Seed Vault. And those, while perhaps theoretically are able to be upgraded in the same fashion, the same wiring, it doesn't fit the current antenna requirements. So part of me wonders if we'll have to interact with that in a similar fashion in part 2 in a few weeks. But that stage grants you 1 Mark III aggressive augment, heavy shield, and Vita Spray actual items, not blueprints, but a few items fit for an aggressive build for those interested in it. Page 2 then requires a bit of a multi-step usage where it says to deal damage to arc enemies using wasp drivers, pop triggers, and leaper pulse units. So you first need to take out the enemies to acquire those items and then in turn use them against additional arc to deal that damage. For some this may be rather strange, either you're used to disregarding those parts or not necessarily having them in your quick use slots of your inventory, but either way you'll be forced to play a little bit differently than normal to complete this. If you do, however, you'll end up getting a surprisingly hefty reward of an Aphelion, Delabra, and Jupiter, 3 legendary items plus a few Raider tokens for simple challenges here. Might actually be the single largest offering via rarity we've had for a project reward, come to think of it. But anyways, page 3 finally is kind of a normal challenge once again, where you just have to destroy arc enemies using fire, energy, and launcher ammo, utilizing some of those things you earned on page 2, like the Aphelion, Delabra, or Jupiter, or Equalizer if you have that as well. Fire can be used from a blaze grenade, fireball burners, stuff like that, and a launcher ammo just being your Hull Cracker or your Rascal for 50 Raider tokens, Power Descender, Horizontal Grip, an attachment that doesn't have a blueprint, so for what it's worth, it's nice to have in your inventory, and a snap hook. Not bad. So all things considered, relatively low maintenance, easy to complete project with some decent loot available for it, but part 2 again opens up on the 18th as mentioned by the patch notes. So this, we still have that sort of air quote norm that's been established of an update every 3 weeks. This one just kind of hopping in line a bit and giving a little extra where, again, we may not have anticipated that. So while next week may very well have nothing of noteworthy mention, the week following is when you'll end up seeing a bit more on offer once again for the second half of this project, a new event that comes along with it, and perhaps something else, pending what those patch notes bring. Grand scheme of things, I still wouldn't get my hopes up too high. All eyes still are on that October update, but something is better than nothing in that case, I'd say. Anyways, only other thing we could say about this update and this new project is we do have a definitive start and end date with this, today obviously being the start, but the end being 33 days from now, taking us until Monday, September 7th. Though I'm partially wondering if that gets adjusted in the near future to add another 24 hours. While our Ermal updates happen on Mondays, everything else happens on Tuesdays. So for it to go away on a Monday would be strange, not to mention that it's in line with another live update at that point, one of the last few ones as we gear up for Frozen Trails, but more on that in a second. So there is an end date to this, but outside of that, the only other thing mentioned with the patch notes here today was a reminder of the Azimuth skin in the finals, the reciprocal of what we had for the finals to earn this in Arc Raiders. While there were genuine challenges in the finals to earn this in Arc Raiders, the challenge in Arc Raiders is just genuine playtime. 3 hours of your accounts connected, playing in Arc Raiders, and you have the skin available in the finals. A lot more of a low maintenance and hands-off approach to it. Play however you'd like, and it's yours so long as you put the time in. Now, this skin is available for the next few weeks here to grab in the finals. However, it is currently unavailable to earn from the finals to get in Arc Raiders. That was something that closed off. They had that challenge live for just under a month here the past month, but they switched over, I think last week that it was, to end up seeing that now earnable in the finals. But back to the rollout of updates to kind of conclude the discussion here about this and talking the future, it's looking like from recently logged files, there could be 3 more live updates here that we have before Frozen Trails. One on the 18th, as we know, something that's already been established, one on the 8th, and one on the 29th. Now, the timing of that obviously doesn't lead to October in the update for Frozen Trail, so I wouldn't expect the 29th to be something that they just launch Frozen Trail early and say, hey, remember that October update? Yeah, it's actually the September update. Wouldn't expect that. And of course, we do know that an expedition window will be opening up on the 22nd of September, so depending on how long that window is, the 29th could end up also being the last phase of preparation for Frozen Trails. But for right now, that trail may lead to October 20th. In which case, that's in line with the former rollout of updates of a latter half of the month update, but also this fall being wicked busy for games at that point. I mean, that week alone is going to have some big competition, regardless of how you feel about those games we're going to talk about here in a second. But Modern Warfare 4's campaign early access is likely to kick off on the 16th of October. Arc Raiders in its 2.0 update, if you want to call it that, will be on the 20th, if again this holds true, and then Modern Warfare 4 launches on the 23rd, just 3 days later. But I mean, there's also plenty of other stuff in the gaming world in October as well. Battlefield 6 is likely to launch Season 5 of content, Gears of War and Star Wars Galactic Racer on the 6th, Valor Mortis and Phantom Blade and other games launching in October, and of course then, I mean, just about a month later from when this proposed 2.0 update is the launch of GTA 6 on the 19th of November, currently commanding that entire month in the industry. So, a lot of stuff still on the horizon, but I mean, man, this fall is about to be insanely busy, which, speaking of, if you haven't heard of or tried out my partners over at Advanced GG, now's a great time to do so. Restock while you have the opportunity, get ahead of the curve here. Advanced is the healthier energy supplement option. I use it daily as my comparable cup of coffee. Currently have the Magic Rainbow Sherbet in my cup bright and early this morning. As of recording this at 6 a.m., only thing keeping my eyes open on a 4:30 a.m. wake-up call today. But another one I love is Raspberry Lemonade. Actually need to restock on that, but I highly recommend those, and of course a bunch of their flavors. But we even co-branded some of their products, one of which being that flavor of the Magic Rainbow Sherbet and things like a 26-ounce ice shaker. But for real, I love these guys and their products. I swear by them. And of course, with such a busy fall schedule for games and subsequent content here on the channel, if you're like me and just looking to power through the day or recharge for some gaming now or in the future, these guys are the absolute best. If interested, use code ESPRESSO to get 10% off your entire order, but as always, no pressure at all. You guys know I just greatly appreciate you guys checking in on the content and stopping by, but anyways, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. So let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of this update and the part 1 of the project, breaking it up into one of 2 parts rather than just all at once? Like that idea? Not so much? Let me know. If you guys enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. Of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so it's a single thing running all things Arc Raiders and even more FPS content. I'd love to have in the community, but for now, thanks so much for watching. My name has been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.